Eminem is a GOAT, and there's no doubt about that. In fact, I'd even go as far as saying that white people treat Eminem like Muslims treat Muhammad. Eminem has put in so much work in hip-hop that people look like you got autism if you even sound like you're criticizing him. One of the biggest rap artists of all time with the numbers that definitely show for it. And if you grew up in the 2000s, there's no doubt that you've heard at least several Eminem songs on the radio. And one of his best attributes is that black culture and middle America accepted him because they saw him like themselves. However, a dark secret tape that's making its rounds around the internet again might actually affect his legendary career by showing a darker side of him.
The tape that 3 white kids from Detroit walked into Dave's office, brought and said, listen, this is the real Eminem.
A pretty racist side of him. You see, the record industry did its best to cover this. However, now with the internet allowing these type of things to bubble up again and go viral, it seems like this racist leaked tape that depicts Eminem talking about black women among a host of other things might actually put a dent in his career. Fans are now seeing the other side of Slim Shady, the KKK side. Man, we gotta talk about the racist past of Eminem and how it got exposed by his longtime rival, and how it almost ended his career, and how it might just end his career today. We're gonna get into it right now, but before we do, I'm gonna need y'all to do something for me. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. We're on the road to 100k subscribers. Hit up that merch link in the description at staysafeworld.com. You already know what's going on. Let's get into this. Think of rap beefs. Everyone always acts like Eminem is pretty much untouchable and can take out whoever it is bar for bar if it's a diss track. But what if I told you the biggest, most detrimental diss came at the hands of a magazine owner, not even a rapper? Well, I mean, he considers himself a rapper, but should we consider him a rapper? I'm honestly not gonna even debate about that because bro's raps are low-key kind of trash and he doesn't even write them. However, he was one of the most influential people in hip-hop, so don't sleep on him. Benzino, yes, the fried father of Coi Leray and Chavo, was the only person who was able to almost end Eminem's career. In fact, a lot of people even think that Eminem's prolonged absence in the mid-2000s was due to the explosive accusations that came from Benzino and Source magazine. But to understand how we even got to the point where Eminem's racist tapes dropped to a press conference of confused hip-hop fans in 2003, we gotta start this all the way back from the jump. How Benzino and M even beefed in the first place, bro, with the origins. Bro, it's 2024 and Eminem decided to use Lyrical Lemonade's platform to drop a Benzino diss, accusing him of living out of motels, being broke, and being gay, questioning his sexuality, whole bunch of usual stuff. Honestly, rap is all about kicking niggas when they're down, but who would have expected that this beef that started back in 2002, over 22 years ago, would still be kicking? The most old head saga I've ever heard of, with them trading disses for the better part of 2 decades. Eminem's verse sounding like an autistic Dr. Seuss, while Benzino admitting he didn't even write his own damn verse. But many people who aren't 50 years old wonder how in the hell did these two boomers even have the animosity in the first place to have a beef this long? Well, like most things in rap, the beef started all because of one bad review. You see, Benzino in the early 2000s was a buzzing hip-hop entrepreneur. The Source magazine was one of the longest running blog/print magazines in the hip-hop world. Originally started by David Mays in 1988, it launched online 10 years later, and by 1999, the Los Angeles Times reported that based on data from the Alliance of Audited Media, the print edition of The Source was the #1 selling music magazine on newsstands in America. Around that point is when Benzino became a co-owner and one of the top editors in the magazine. At the same time, Eminem was basically reaching his peak in his rap career too. Eminem has been topping the charts for the better part of the last half decade at the point because he had a unique perspective of the middle America paired with a punk image that the youth could get behind. After several successful albums, he dropped the Eminem Show in May 2002. It was another success, reaching #1 on the charts and selling over 1.3 million copies during its first week. The Source magazine, which Benzino owned at the time, gave Eminem's critically acclaimed album, The Eminem Eminem Show a 4 out of 5 mic rating. This followed with several diss tracks from Eminem, Benzino, even 50 Cent chimed in, and eventually led to the Source deciding not to promote Eminem's music on their platform. This was a pretty major move back in the day because without the internet type platform that we have right now, that type of exposure loss is definitely a major issue, especially because the magazine was literally the #1 hip-hop magazine in the US. I swear, these ninjas dropped like 10 diss songs aimed at each other shortly after this, had numerous radio conversations basically dissing each other. It was a grand time, you know. However, despite all this commotion and clout they were getting from all this and all this dissing, there was never once a knockout blow that would end someone's career. They basically just were going back and forth, talking about each other, talking about each other's songs. The songs were all terrible. Honestly, like diss tracks, I feel like pretty much kind of suck. I feel like they just started getting hard like recently because those diss tracks were terrible. Like they didn't even try to make the songs good. They were just making the songs to diss people. It's like that Nicki Minaj song that she dropped about Megan. Like the song is not good. I guess that's about hip hop, but I honestly personally like the songs that are like actual good songs where they might drop a subliminal diss. Because when they make full diss songs like these songs that drop, I'm telling you, these songs were terrible, bro. Like that's why no one even talks about them anymore. They were pretty trash. But everything changed in November of 2003 when Benzino decided to call a surprise press conference at the Source headquarters to drop a bombshell to rap fans all over the world, man. The racist Eminem tapes.
Release. Benzino and Mays announced they would be playing a tape of Eminem rapping racist
We can
lyrics.
say that what's on this tape, the tape that 3 white kids from Detroit walked into Dave's office, brought and said, listen, this is the real Eminem and we're tired of it.
It might seem unusual for a top-selling monthly magazine to deliver a message outside its pages, but less unusual when the target audience is not fans, but the national mainstream media.
We got to make this the same way that you guys have treated Mike Tyson. You guys are treating Kobe Bryant. You guys have treated R. Kelly, O.J. Simpson. We can hear the music now.
I'll get straight to the point. Black girls are bitches. That's why I'ma tell you, you better pull up your bridges. Cause all that cash is making your ass drag from the boyfriend you ganked. And that's pretty bad.
I can't think of a more, important and pivotal moment in our history, in the Source's history, our personal histories than right here tonight.
Black girls and white girls just don't mix because black girls are dumb and white girls are good shit.
On November 18, 2003, Eminem found himself on the defensive after Benzino and Dave Mays, the owners of the Source, held a press conference to play a recording of Eminem saying a bunch of crazy racist slurs in an infamous racist tape dubbed, yes, you guessed it, the Racist Tapes. On the first of 2 tracks recorded all the way back in 1993, basically a decade from when they were exposing them, audibly young man who called himself Eminem raps the most racist fried lyrics you can pretty much imagine. Bro hit the racist trifecta. He hit the N-word, he dissed black women, and then he pretty much said a whole bunch of other crazy stuff that I can't even repeat on here. But the craziest lines were, quote, all the girls I like to bone have big butts. No, they don't, cause I don't like that N-word stuff. I'm just here to make a bigger hit. You can guess what I mean by N-word. It was with the hard R, bro. A second track dating back to 1988 featured Eminem rapping about a black girlfriend he broke up with, saying blacks and whites, they sometimes mix, but black girls only want your money cause they dumb chicks. I know, how profound, bro. This the dude that they be saying is the greatest of all time, bro. Like, bro really hit us with the simple nursery rhyme and shit, man. It's honestly crazy. Further in the song, bro raps never date a black girl because they only want your money, and that shit ain't funny. The first track was a short vibe, short racist vibe, but the second song was going on for mad long. Bro was just off the top freestyling, say he didn't like black girls and was really trying to hammer that point down. Like, bruh, pretty sure we got that the first 10 times you said it, but to each his own. Eminem even admitted that the tapes were indeed him, which is honestly crazy. Back then there was no internet really in the way that we have it now, so if I was a dude exposed for some racist stuff, I would have straight just said it wasn't me. Nowadays they got AI software so you can blame it on that, some chat GBT type beat. But back then, I don't know why he didn't lie, you know? I guess that's what makes him better, that he's truthful. Sorta he didn't lie. In a statement he said to make up for it, it didn't really sound too convincing. So he says that in his statement, Ray Benzino, Dave Mays, and The Source have had a vendetta against me, Shady Records, and our artists for a long time. Hey, you know that classic defection. Bro straight tried to get pity from his fans and make himself the victim on some real aggressive narcissism. You know, you gotta celebrate that. But anyway, he says, the tape they played today was something I made out of anger, stupidity, and frustration when I was a teenager. I just broken up with my girlfriend who was African American, and I reacted like a stupid, angry kid that I was. I hope people take it for foolishness, that it was not for what somebody's trying to make it into. However, M and his manager said they never heard of the first tape. You know, the one that said, I don't date black people, but that's some, you know, Nick stuff. Honestly, that first tape is the craziest thing I've ever heard, especially now with the BBLs being so popular, but that's neither here nor there. Honestly, the whole tape stuff is crazy because apparently shortly after this ordeal, Eminem took a 5-year break from dropping albums. Yeah, he had a couple features in the meantime, but he didn't drop albums and pretty much like disappeared from the limelight for a long period of time. But honestly, I think the story of how Benzino even got the tapes in the first place is honestly just as crazy as them releasing it. Apparently a bunch of white kids from Detroit came into Dave Mays' office at the height of the beef and just played the tape. Mays called Benzino in, and Benzino apparently went straight into an offer after a second in hearing those Johns. Like, they were trying to chill and kick it. Bro said, nah, let me just get them right now. The kids were originally about to sell the tapes to Irv Gotti for like 50 racks, but Benzino had money on the spot. He gave them $10K right away for the first tape that had all the girlfriend stuff on it, and $5K for later tapes, which were also crazy racist rants. Who would have thought what you can find laying around when you dig deep into these rappers' careers? Like, imagine if Jack Harlow or any other white rappers today, people go and dig up their music, they'd probably be pretty much donezo, you know? Like, imagine if Yeet had a random racism scandal, bro. Like, they would be donezo, especially in the environment of rap music today and like people and like TikTok. And yeah, so it's safe to say that these allegations put a major break in Eminem's career, because bro took a really long extended pause, so long that it seemed like he tried to, you know, time his return with the demise of The Source. But to further understand that, we gotta talk about the aftermath of the whole racist tape situation and how it really put his career into a free fall, man. Let's get into it. Benzino says that after the Eminem diss track leaked, Eminem took an extended 5-year break. This is half accurate. I mean, Eminem stands are hardcore in denial, saying that Eminem took the break because his right-hand man, Proof, died and he was succumbing to drugs. But in reality, I'm pretty sure when Eminem decided to drop again officially in 2008, he was still on drugs, I thought. Regardless of the case, any good manager is going to tell you not to drop for an extended period of time after a scandal like this happens. You need the public to almost forget about these type of things and make it a distant memory in their head and wait for the steam to blow off, so the people that really like you are just gonna, you know, try to make excuses for it, and the people that don't really like you are pretty much gonna forget. If he had responded in a diss, nobody would give him the benefit of the doubt because he was using a black art form to diss a man who was black in the eye of the fans. On top of that, it's safe to say that he affected his whole growth along the way, among a bunch of other things that were going on with his life, that it all together was just not a good situation. You know, even his friend dying, him being on drugs, and this all happening definitely made him just want to take a step back from releasing albums, and it totally makes sense. And honestly, I feel like his career wasn't really the same after that. Like, yeah, he was putting up numbers, but his music was not really like the happy-go-lucky punk, like weird influency type music that we had heard in the early 2000s. His music got way more serious after this whole ordeal, and when he did drop, by the time that he did, it was pretty much after The Source was pretty much irrelevant, because by 2009 The Source had pretty much gone downhill. A lot of their viewer base was getting lost because of, you know, all of the other forms of technology that we have today with Facebook, and magazines in total were just doing bad. Like, magazines have been doing bad for almost a decade now. Like, people don't really buy print magazines like that. If they do, it's because they're trying to be artsy or trying to be cool or something like that. But at the end of the day, yeah, that whole situation pretty much affected Eminem's career, but he took such a long break about it. And on top of it, he had all the labels like Dr. Dre, he had his manager, all behind him, 50 Cent behind him. So they had a lot of pull and power and pretty much were able to bury this story along with the amount of time that went in between. So there was never really that big of a scandal. Like, that was in 2003 when the internet wasn't really going at the viral time. There's only a couple of different articles that really talk about this dating back from then. But recently, I've been seeing a TikTok that's been going around sort of spreading this on multiple platforms, and it's honestly beginning a lot of traction. And that is something I was not expecting, and that is something that might actually hurt his career. Because the thing about Eminem is people just need to see him in his good parts. Like, yeah, they know that he's a lot of trouble and stuff like that, but being a right rapper, you cannot be seen as racist. Like, that's like a white rapper's kryptonite, because you need those black fans to legitimize you. And so far, they definitely have. But that was like the early fans, you know, like the older fans now that are like in their 30s and 40s and grew up in a different time. But that type of stuff wasn't as bad as it is now. Now that stuff is terrible. The Gen Z, the younger, like, millennials and people like that are not gonna stand to see a rapper like this, especially a dude with Juice WRLD features and be featured on Fortnite and stuff like that. It's definitely not gonna be good for his career if he is seen as racist in this type of way, especially right now on the internet, that he doesn't really have that big of a narrative. Yeah, he has a lot of like old 40-year-old fans, but if the younger kids basically cancel him and he's not going to be seen on the internet like that, you might as well kiss your career goodbye. I mean, yeah, you'll have those legacy fans, but those people are going to eventually die off. You know, they're a lot older. The younger generation are not going to really know about him, and he could end up like Benzino. But I feel like the only way that he could reverse this is to do something that many have been criticizing him for not doing, honestly, in the past years. Detroit music, Flint music, Michigan music as a whole has been trending heavily, and he has not really tapped into all the younger artists and the Babyface Rays, the Real, the Young OGs, the Babytrons, the, you know, Skiller Babies. Like, none of those people have been tapped in by Eminem. So Eminem should go back to his roots and tap in with those up and coming artists, and maybe, just maybe, he can prove that he's not a racist and not just all out for himself. But if he continues to be as reclusive as he is and continues not to support the younger youth coming up and really just, yeah, he gives back to the city of Detroit, but he doesn't give back to the rap community like that. Like, if he doesn't do that, then he will be seen as a racist, and these videos are just going to be worse. And that's just my opinion. But I feel like if he were to do that, it would probably make up for all the racist stuff that he said in the past. Yeah, he was young, but nobody really cares in this cancel culture era. You'd be surprised. People say that you can't cancel someone. You can. The money shows, you know. These corporations can definitely, these younger kids can definitely put you out of their equation, man. But hey, let me know in the comments what y'all think about this, man. Did I get the story right? Did I get the story wrong? Is there more to the Eminem Benzino beef? Did Benzino win? Did Eminem win? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, man. Real say shit. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Road to 100K. You already know, man. Gang, peace.